Have you ever been so tired that you no longer even want to get better? You don't want to heal, don't want to try, don't want to think, you just want to retreat from everything. Not because you're weak, but because you've been strong for far too long. If you're feeling that way, sit down for a moment and just listen to one small thing. Peace doesn't come from controlling everything, but from letting go at the right time. You're watching One Dharma Teaching Each Day, a place where a single phrase can sow the seed for a lifetime of peace. Hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you won't miss a daily wisdom teaching. Maybe this is exactly what you need right now. In today's video, I won't be teaching you how to become stronger. I won't be preaching about becoming a better, greater, or more resilient version of yourself. No, I'll simply share a few gentle, quiet things, just enough for your heart to feel a little lighter. Light enough to breathe, light enough to smile, light enough to keep walking, no matter how heavy yesterday may have been. Together, we'll go through a few things, no fluff, no lofty theories, just some truths that are close to home. We'll reflect on why the more we try to control, the more anxious, exhausted, and lifeless we feel inside. We'll explore how to let go, not of life, but of the illusions and burdens we've been holding the wrong way. We'll learn to distinguish between letting go and giving up. Because sometimes you think you're being weak, but really, you're just learning to love yourself more honestly. And at the end of it all, there'll be a short story, very short, but maybe warm enough to remind you that you're not alone on this journey. If you can listen with your whole heart, set down all your defenses, and release the pressure of having to become someone, then maybe today could be the day you begin again. No need for fireworks, just truth. When we were young, we were taught, if you want something, hold on tight. If you love someone, work hard to keep them. If you want things to go well, control every little detail to avoid mistakes. Then we grow up, carrying the belief that if we don't hold on, we'll lose. If we don't control, we'll get hurt. If we're not prepared, we'll be caught off guard and broken. So we start gripping onto everything, clutching our future plans like a lifeline in a storm, clinging to our lovers as if we couldn't survive without them, holding our fears deep inside, hidden where no one can see. But have you ever asked yourself, what exactly am I trying so hard to hold on to? And how long is enough? There's a Taoist saying that shook me when I heard it. He who conquers others is strong. He who conquers himself is truly powerful. And the one we need to conquer is not someone else, not the injustices out there, but our own ego, the part that insists everything must go exactly our way. We think control equals safety, predictability equals peace, dominance equals survival. But the truth is this: safety doesn't come from control. It comes from the trust that, no matter what happens, you won't lose yourself. Look closely. We're not tired because life throws too many changes at us. We're tired because, in our minds, there's always a perfect version of how everything should be. This relationship must look like this. That person must love me that way. I must succeed by a certain age. I must be okay, be calm, be recognized. And when life doesn't go the way we hoped, we're not just disappointed in life. We become disappointed in ourselves. Because we weren't good enough. Weren't in control enough. Weren't enough for things to unfold the way we wanted. The Buddha once said something profoundly true. Suffering doesn't come from not getting what we want, but from not being able to let go of what we expected. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. Letting go is not surrender. Letting go is looking back and seeing clearly. I'm in pain, not because of reality, but because of an imagined version of it I kept clinging to. So that's it, just a few short lines, a few quiet thoughts today. But if even one part of this touches your heart, then maybe, tomorrow, you'll walk a little lighter. For example, you fall in love with someone, and you imagine they'll always love you the way you love them. You care, give, sacrifice, but one day, they change. They're no longer who they used to be. No longer sweet, no longer the person you imagined. The pain doesn't come only from their actions. It comes from your inability to let go of who you thought they were. Taoism has a beautiful image to describe this. Flowing like clouds drifting, like water moving. Water never argues with the rocks. Clouds never try to force the sky. Everything moves in its own natural rhythm. No rushing, no fighting, no chasing, no forcing. But us, we force too much. We force love to stay the same. We force people to never leave. We force life to never fail us. And so we grow weary, chasing after things that were never meant to be held. When people hear the word let go, they often react. But if I let go, won't I lose everything? Does letting go mean accepting pain? Does it mean I failed? No. Letting go is a form of understanding. When you understand someone, you no longer need to change them. When you understand a situation, you no longer need to scream, "Why me?" When you understand yourself, you stop blaming yourself for not being enough. Letting go means you no longer force things to be a certain way. You accept. The world is unfolding exactly as it needs to, and you don't have to fight it anymore. In Buddhist meditation, there is a step called releasing the discriminating mind. It means, stop judging everything through dualities. Good or bad, right or wrong, gain or loss. When we release the dualistic lens, the mind naturally finds peace. For example, they left, not because you weren't worthy, but because their journey needed a new direction. You failed, not because you were incapable, but because this is the lesson you were meant to learn right now. Things didn't go your way, but maybe they're leading you to something far more meaningful. Letting go is allowing everything to be what it is, without needing to control it. No interference, no force, no calculation. And when you pause long enough to truly see, you'll realize that what needs to change is not other people, but the way you see everything. Have you ever sat beneath a tree and watched the leaves fall? The leaf doesn't complain. The leaf doesn't cling in regret. The leaf doesn't fight to hold on. It simply knows when the wind arrives. Letting go is how it returns to Mother Earth. No resistance, but also no fear. On the path of healing, letting go is a turning point. Because after you've cried enough, you'll want to breathe. After you've braced yourself for too long, you'll crave lightness. And only when you let go, do your hands become free to receive the new. A person who still clutches the past cannot embrace the present. A person who fears losing cannot love wholeheartedly. A person who must control everything will never know peace. And you know what? Letting go takes practice. The first day, it'll hurt. The second day, it'll feel a little lighter. By the 10th day, you may forget just how tightly you once held on. The heart is like the sky, covered by heavy clouds all this time. But as you let go, the sky clears. Letting go is an action, not just a thought. You can't just think your way into letting go. You'll only know you've truly let go when it no longer hurts the way it used to. And you'll know you've let go when you can smile, even if nothing has really changed yet. So, how do you let go? Start by seeing clearly what you're still holding on to. Ask yourself, what am I gripping? A person, a past, an expectation? Then breathe and allow. Whenever you feel the urge to hold on, take a deep breath and whisper, I allow this to be exactly as it is. If it's pain, let it be pain. If it's an ending, let it end. Do a symbolic act to release. Write it down and burn it. Delete the old messages. Stop checking their phone every night. Or simply, turn off your phone. Step outside and take a walk with no destination. Every act of letting go is a quiet prayer whispered to the universe. And here's the most important part. Letting go doesn't make you weak. Letting go makes you real. And when you live truthfully, you finally begin to live. Peace doesn't come from control. It comes from knowing when and how to let go. You may have once believed that if you could control everything, you'd suffer less. That if you could master your emotions, manage others, plan every step of your future, life might feel more secure. But the more we grow up, the more we discover a truth that's simple and heartbreaking. The more we try to control, the more anxious we become. The tighter we hold on, the more things slip away. The harder we force ourselves to be calm, the more turmoil we feel inside. At some point, you will realize that peace doesn't come from how much you can hold on, but from whether you dare to let go at the right moment. Think about trying to hold water in your hands. When your palms are cupped just enough, the water stays. But when you squeeze too tight, it overflows. Try to hold water in a clenched fist, and you're left with nothing but an empty, wet hand. Emotions are like that, too. So are the people we love. And life itself is the same. We often think we have to do more, be stronger, become better, in order to overcome pain, overcome the past, overcome ourselves. But sometimes, what you need most isn't to try harder. It's to pause. Pause, to see how far you've already come. Pause, to realize you've been holding it together for too long. You've been putting too much pressure on yourself. You've lost the simple gift of just breathing. In the name of becoming better. In Taoism, there's a beautiful image. A dragon does not need to roar to prove its power. It hides gently in the clouds, calm, quiet, at ease. Its strength lies not in declaration, but in knowing when to be still. Stillness is not weakness. It is a sign of a mind that is maturing. Many people think that letting go is giving up, that it means quitting, surrendering. But the truth is, letting go is the most courageous act of all, because it requires trust. Trusting that, even if you don't hold on, life will keep moving. Even if you don't interfere, others can still grow on their own. Even if you don't explain yourself, those who truly understand you will stay. A child falls, and the mother stands still, because she knows, if she keeps rushing in to catch them, the child will never learn to stand alone. True love is not control. It's knowing when to let go, so the other person has the space to become who they truly are. And you also deserve to be trusted in that same way, to be believed in, to be seen as someone who can stand back up again. But first, you must learn to trust yourself. Not the kind of trust that says, I can control everything, but the quiet kind that whispers, no matter what happens, I will continue, without losing myself. The Buddha never taught us to conquer life. He taught us to see life, as it truly is. And to see clearly, we must let go of the part of us that wants it to be different. You may have been hurt. You may have tried until you were utterly exhausted. You may have wished to disappear from everything. And you know what? That's okay. You're still here. You're still breathing. You're still learning how to let go, and that's a beautiful thing. Today, you don't have to be stronger. Just a little lighter. Today, you don't need to do more. Just loosen your grip a little. Today, you don't have to control anyone. Just look at yourself and take one deep, honest breath. Because peace was never something to be found out there. Peace begins the moment you stop trying to control everything. It begins when you allow life to flow kindly. When you sit down and simply give thanks for still being here. A true story, The Man and the Rotten Tree. He was a man in his 40s, a creative director at a major company. Talented, perfectionist, polished in every word he spoke. To outsiders, he looked like the perfect image of success. But no one knew that every night, just before sleep, he would quietly cry, not because of work, but because of something he could never forgive himself for. He couldn't love his own mother. His mother left when he was just 9. No goodbye, no letter, no explanation. He didn't see her again until he was 18. When she had an accident and needed blood, he donated, but didn't say a single word. He thought that was enough. But his heart remained unsettled. He studied Buddhist teachings. He practiced meditation. He went to therapy. He tried every healing method he could find. Yet the pain remained, like a thorn stuck deep inside. One day, he joined a 7-day silent meditation retreat in the forest. On the 5th day, the monk led the group on a silent walk. They ventured deep into the woods, where old, rotting trees stood with their roots rising from the ground, like hands trying to hold onto the earth. The monk pointed to one gnarled tree and said softly, "This tree was once struck by lightning. It's no longer whole, but it still stands. Moss grows on it. Birds build nests in it. It offers shade to strangers passing by." Then the monk looked at him and asked, "Are you sure you can't love a rotten tree? Or are you simply demanding that it be perfect?" And he broke down in tears. Not because of the tree, not because of his mother, but because, for the first time, he saw himself, a child clinging to an old wound, demanding it be beautiful before he could dare to touch it. From that day on, he stopped trying to forgive his mother. He simply sat with his feelings. No fixing, no forcing, no pretending to be okay. He continued to live, like that tree. He swayed when the wind blew, sighed when the rain came. But he no longer needed anyone to understand him. He had let go, not through words, but in the softened gaze with which he now looked at life. A Taoist parable, Let Go and Cross the River. Long ago, in a remote mountain village, there lived 2 Taoist monks. One was named Tian Feng, calm, quiet, serene. The other, King Shi, young, strict, black and white in his views. One day, they came down the mountain to continue their spiritual journey. As they reached a shallow river, they saw a beautiful young woman, soaked and flustered, standing at the bank, unsure how to cross. King Shi turned away, frowning. A worldly woman, dressed like that, not in line with the Tao. We shouldn't help. He crossed the river, not once looking back, but Tian Feng said nothing. He simply walked over, bowed, and gently carried the woman across. At the other side, he set her down, joined his palms, and walked on. After a long stretch in silence, King Shi suddenly snapped, "Elder brother, you broke the code. You carried a woman, and not even a proper one." Tian Feng looked at him and smiled. I put her down at the riverbank long ago. But you are still carrying her in your heart. And that was the end of the story. No added lesson, no conclusion. Because the listener will understand on their own. When the heart hasn't let go. Even things long past still torment us every day. Where two stories cross. The man and the rotten tree. The monks and the shallow river. Though thousands of years apart. They speak of the same truth. Letting go is not something you do with your hands. It happens in your heart. You may have left that person. But your mind still checks on them every day. You may have quit your job. But each night you still replay those meetings where you felt small. You may have grown up. But still carry your mother's scolding from when you were 7. We carry so many things we thought we had already let go of. And that's why we're tired. Not tired in the body. But tired in the soul. One small, but vital, reminder. Letting go doesn't mean you stop feeling. You may still hurt, still miss, still long, still regret. But when you've truly let go, you no longer feel the need to control. You allow those emotions to come, and then go. You don't cling, and you don't chase, like sitting on your porch, watching the rain arrive, and then clear away. Not happy, not sad, just aware. In the Vimalakirti Sutra, the Buddha once said, only when the mind gives up the idea of ownership, do all things reveal themselves in clarity. Which means, only when you stop trying to hold on, do you finally see what's truly here to stay. You can't keep someone by worrying about losing them. You can't hold on to happiness by trying to control it. You can't find peace by stressing about how to be at peace. Only when you put everything down, do your hands become free to hold yourself. Maybe you've come far in your healing journey. Or maybe, you've only just begun. Wherever you are, you still have one choice. Let go. You don't have to understand everything. You don't have to forgive right away. You don't have to be okay today. You just have to sit down, take a breath, and gently remind yourself, I don't need to control anymore. I just need to be here, truly. If this video made your heart soften, if somewhere inside, you feel just a little bit lighter, even for a single breath, then you might help someone else find that same stillness. With a like, a share, or a quiet subscribe, not to grow this channel, but to give peace another home to rest in. And if you're still here, thank you for sitting with me through every last word. We can't promise we'll always be happy, but we can choose to walk through everything with hearts that still know how to listen. See you in the next video. Wishing you a truly peaceful day.